Hey everyone, I want to tell you how my brother and I were able to make a podcast so easily. It was all thanks to the Anchor app. With creation tools such as transitions that add effects that allow you to seamlessly go from segment to segment, and my personal favorite feature, the listener messages, where you and your audience can interact and get to know each other on a different level. Not only is Anchor an app, but you can access all their features on your laptop or desktop as well by visiting anchor.fm. But I bet you are worried, how and where can I upload my podcast? With Anchor, you won't have to stress, as they will distribute your podcast for you to places such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and so many more. The app is free to download. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app today or visit anchor.fm to get started. Welcome, everybody, to a brand new podcast. My name is Nick, alongside my brother Chris. This is a show we like to call The Brothers of Broad Street. We are a Philadelphia sports talk show giving you the realest and freshest takes on everything Eagles, Phillies, Sixers, and Flyers. You can find us anywhere you get your podcast today. Check us out on the Anchor app, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and on our YouTube page, which is at The Brothers of Broad Street with all spaces. And Chris, 2020 NFL schedule released today. That's why we're getting together tonight. And first impressions of it, Eagles week 1. Let's dive right into this. Eagles go on the road to the Washington Redskins. What are your early thoughts on this one?
I like it. I do. I don't like that we're on the road, but then again, of course, in 2017, we started our Super Bowl run at Washington, and Wentz had an amazing game. Honestly, we own the Redskins. We've beaten the past 6 times. And I think it'll be an easy dub. I think it'll be a good way to showcase our new weapons in the draft and our overall new offense.
And Chris, you remember last year's game, bro. Eagles came in there needing that win so bad.
Yep.
Greg Ward played a big part in that game. You know, they were able to get it together late, pull together on a big touchdown pass from Wentz to Ward in the back corner, and then Bradham had that fumble recovery to really seal the win. So I think it's an easy win to start the season. I mean, Carson Wentz over his career has had a lot of success against Washington, so I say no really stumble up on this early week 1 matchup here.
Let's be honest. Redskins, they got Chase Young. They had a good draft. They got more weapons. But I still think we'll get it done.
We got a new coach, too. You can't forget, Chris. We got Ron Rivera behind.
They got Ron.
And
they got a great defense.
He's got a great experience. I mean, he took the Carolina Panthers to the Super Bowl.
That's
and
right.
I'm not saying he's going to do that with Washington right
Not
here,
even
but
close.
They're building something here, and it starts with their head coach, and he's going to be great working with his young quarterback, Dwayne Haskins. They still got McLaurin coming back, and he's going to be a big part of that offense. And Chase Young coming off that edge is going to be tough. It really is going to be tough. And with our O-line,
our O-line's great.
They really need to protect Carson, especially the blind side. We still don't know about Andre Dillard and Jason Peters still a free agent. There's rumors right now, at least at the time of this recording, that the Eagles are going to bring him back. We don't know yet, but we'll see what happens with him. What would be, I guess, a key to getting the Birds offense and the defense really off to a hot start here in week 1?
Well, I'm really looking forward to what our defense does, and I think it'll be easy. We have a quarterback entering his 2nd or 3rd year. We have a lot of rookies on that team. Yeah, they're young and they're good, they're quick. But I think the defense, Slay, all the new acquisitions. We have Nickel Coleman, and I think just our corners are a key to me. Seeing what they can do. We got torched last year, week 1 at Philly.
Actually having a solidified number 1 quarterback this year for the first time.
Yeah.
God, probably going back to Troy Vincent and Bobby Taylor, if you're all honest.
That's right.
Because we just know how the Eagles have had not the best of luck with corners coming down the line the last couple of years.
I think it's just, of course, it's up to Wentz getting that offense going. He is the leader. We got Rager. We got the new weapons. Deshaun coming back. But, of course, it'll probably only last a few weeks until he tears something right off his body. And, I mean, I'm looking forward to it.
Let's hope not. Let's hope to get a lot of action from Deshaun this season, and hopefully can complete all 16 games.
God help us.
We can only hope so. But, I mean, it's going to be fun to see Jalen Hurts. Will he be used in week 1? Will he be used, later down the line? Is it going to be, Doug comes in maybe first series and they use Jalen Hurts right off the bat? Or You know,
You
are they
want
going to
Jalen,
wait a couple of weeks, maybe a couple series to see how Jalen does, maybe a couple gadget plays with him and Rager? There's so much they can do with Rager now and Hurts. You know, we talked about so many double reverses they could do, and there's so much out there of everyone kind of getting excited of the plays they can do and come up with. A lot of people are trusting Doug with this, but I mean, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to see how they come up right off the bat there with this kind of offense.
It is going to be exciting. I think our first time we get in the red zone in that game, it's going to be Hurts coming in. First time, I think it's going to be Wentz on the outside, pass to Hurts, flip to Greg Ward, touchdown to Wentz.
Now, that'd be so much fun because we want to have fun watching this football team. It's been a couple years since we've had fun watching them.
That's right.
I would say, you know, in honesty, 18 was rough. Last year was the roller coaster that it was. All Philadelphia Eagles fans went through, barely scratching the playoffs and luckily getting in at the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this year you want it to be fun again. You want them to go back to that 2017 swagger. A lot of that had to do with the guys they had in the locker room at the time. And I think the new captain was going to be Jalen Mills back there playing safety. He's going to be very key, getting that captain role and kind of bringing the men together in that locker room and become one. And hopefully they can do that very quickly in week 1. All right, so let's move on to week 2 now, Chris. Home opener, the Los Angeles Rams.
The Rams coming into Philly, 1 o'clock game. I'm really excited for this because, like we own the Redskins, we also own Jared Goff.
We do.
We have beaten them, I believe, the past 2 or 3 times at least.
We, according to this, I'm looking at it now, we have a 6-game winning streak going back to 2005.
There you go.
Against them. And then obviously 2018, they won 30-23 in that game. So that was we have a good winning streak against them right now. And, you know, the Rams, though, they're always a tough one coming into Philly. West Coast, though, Chris, you know, got to go cross country early in the season. You know, we don't have Todd Gurley on the Rams anymore, thankfully.
Lost a lot of key components, a lot of key
they lost
stars.
So they don't have as many weapons as they did, and Goff is Jared Goff. I mean, let's be honest. I mean,
yeah,
there's nothing that really scares us about him.
13-3, Goff. Yeah, we will always remember that. Look, I look at it as this. We've started the past 2 seasons 1-1. We always think, oh, we're going to win this game. Last year we had the Falcons week 2. That was Sunday night at Atlanta, a little different situation, but we always start 1-1. I'm hoping we can start 2-0 with this season. I think the Rams have just lost a lot of players. I don't think they're going to be all that good this year. They'd be lucky to get to 500. I just think it's going to be a fun game. They don't really have many good corners. I think Rager, Deshaun, they're going to burn them. And it's going to be fun in Philly at 1.
Yeah, we got to, you know, I mean, obviously, Chris, with the situation of the world right now, we don't know where these games and when these games will be played on time. We don't know. I mean, as of now, you know, we're just looking at the schedule as it came out tonight. So we don't know officially. We can only hope by September 20th, the home opener there, that everyone can be back inside the Link, packed house, bringing the noise and just showing the Rams, you know, we still own them. So that would be really key. I mean, if it doesn't happen, then, you know, we don't know what's going to happen. The NFL had a lot of flexibility with their scheduling tonight, so they left a lot of things open and things to be moved. We'll see what their plans are if things were to happen like that. But, you know, we really hope we can get back inside the Link on September 20th for a 1 o'clock game against the Rams. And that's always a factor, too. You got to remember these times for these West Coast games. They're not playing at 4, they're playing at 1. You know, we'll see how they react to it, and you can only hope we can come out and Carson can show the fans why is Carson Wentz and start really an MVP campaign. We can only hope. Yeah, another game where he can hopefully get through it. All right, we'll move on to week 3 now.
This is a scary one for me. I see this as the Lions last year. I see this as the Dolphins type game. This is what you call a trap game, people. We all know what it is. Philadelphia Eagles love losing games we should win. We have the Cincinnati Bengals coming into Philly back-to-back home games to start the season at 1 o'clock. I'm a big fan of Joe Burrow personally.
Yeah, you have to be. He's amazing.
And I want to go to this game.
I would love to go to this game. Everything he did at LSU. I know he's going to transition well. There's going to be a lot of problems with Burrow, Chris. I mean, let's be honest. Rookie, he's not going to be perfect, but he's going to continue to show a lot of those skills in the national championship game and, of course, throughout the last year of college football. And he showed up, and I think he's going to do it. He got so many great weapons now, just the receivers alone. We kept talking about that on draft night alone.
He's stacked.
I mean, he's got Ross. He's got A.J. Green. He's got T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd now, Auden Tate. I mean, this guy is going into a great receivers around him in a great situation. The only thing that scares me in Cincinnati, if you're a Cincinnati fan, is the O-line, how that's going to hold up, and is he going to get protection? I mean, that's the biggest thing, especially with our D-line.
Our D-line, freaking Hargrave. I cannot wait to see him with Cox lined up. We have Malik Jackson coming back. Last year I was so excited for him, and this year he'll be back. He was injured, I think, week 1 or very early in the season. I could easily see us winning this game and going 3-0, but it could also very scarily go 1-2. It can go 2-1, but we're gonna hope 3-0. We're gonna be optimistic.
All right,
here.
let me just be the pessimistic in the room here for a second, because if you followed this team for any amount of time, you might not know this, but the stat I'm going to call this our stat of the day for now, is the Eagles' struggles against the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals leading the Eagles' all-time series 9-3-1, with the Eagles losing the last 4 games, and then they tied that infamous game in 2008 where Don McNabb didn't know there was a ties in the NFL back then in 2008. But in 2016, they got blown out. It was Carson Wentz's rookie season. He had a great game, threw a couple touchdowns, but the Bengals just somehow blew us out. I mean, it was a lot of Andy Dalton, Tyler Eifert, kind of back and forth.
I think they lost Eifert too. That's
a big loss there for them. That's back when we had Caleb Sturgis kicking for us. So
who is that? We don't know. We look back Christmas Eve 2000. That is the last time we have won against the Cincinnati Bengals. But look,
it's a different rookie team. It's a rookie team. It's a different times. I think this is the year we finally break that streak, and you can only hope so. At least being at home, Burrow going on the road to Philadelphia, I think that's going to be a hostile environment he'll never forget, regardless of the outcome of the game. So hopefully the Eagles get to him early and kind of pressure him and maybe force some throws in our corners, stay home and play good coverage and, hopefully get Burrow a couple picks and disrupt him as much as we can. Go on to the dreaded Week 4.
This is, I hate to make the comparison to 2019. I keep doing this, but this is like the Packers game. It's a little worse in my opinion. We're going up against a very scary defense. The runner-ups of the Super Bowl, traveling all the way over to San Francisco for Sunday
night football in Week 4. Start the month of October. And Chris, we know the story. Last time these two teams met, Eagles blew them out in the Super Bowl season, 33-10 at home, and they just had a fun doing it. So we know San Francisco is going to have revenge on their mind. Different quarterback, and with the 49ers being in the Super Bowl last year, they're going to be on a mission this year to try to get back to that place that they were last year. And they have a very easy schedule, but we'll get into that another time, not to get into their schedule.
And you look at that team, and they kind of remind you of the Bears a few years ago, of the Jaguars, that, okay, they have a great offense, well, not great. They have a great defense. They have an all right offense. It gets the job done. But I could see them easily falling into that category of where they don't do very well this year. I could definitely see that. I hope it's a good game. The Packers game was one of my favorite last year, a lot of people's favorite. But I think this will be our first loss, in my opinion. I just can't see us winning unless it's by some miracle, like in the Packers game when we got the pick at the end. But this is definitely the toughest game. And then, of course, after this, we go on a very long streak of tough games.
Yeah. But, I mean, if we're going, win against the Redskins, Rams, and Bengals, Chris, and then we lose to San Francisco, I mean, I think I'd be happy with that.
Yeah.
If they fight in this game, and I know they will, if they're in it, and they only lose by a touchdown or a field goal or, maybe 10 points or so, then that's understandable. It's just a superior team right now and how they're constructed. So that'll be a great matchup, but it looks to be, for our prediction, that'll be the Eagles' first loss. So we move on to Week 5 here, and of course, Chris, I have something I'm probably looking forward to coming right off that San Francisco game.
Very excited.
Battle of Pennsylvania, Eagles and Steelers, Week 5, awesome. October 11th, 1 o'clock game out there in Pittsburgh. It's been a couple years, been 4 years since we played them. Last time, Eagles won 34-3 in Philadelphia. And Chris, what do you see this season the way the Steelers are constructed currently.
Well, Big Ben, okay, that's the real question mark. Will he come back better than ever? Will he come back okay? I think he's the key to their offense. Mason Rudolph just wasn't getting it working last year. I also think their defense is going to be very good. So you're looking at 49ers and then the Steelers back-to-back. And then we'll get on to the next week, too. Great defense. I just think their offense won't be enough at this point in the season to be clicking, and I think we should win.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you there. I mean, so that'll bring them to 4-1 for our prediction here. I would see it be. I mean, even being on the road, I think it's an easy game. They should be able to come out with a win here. But then you almost look at the Pittsburgh game kind of like the Bengals game, because you had the Bengals in San Francisco, and then here we got the Steelers, and of course for Week 6 we are home against the Baltimore Ravens, which should have been the AFC champions in my opinion. Then we get home against Baltimore October 18th, 1:00 start, which I wouldn't be surprised if that gets flexed later. I'm nervous right away.
Battle of the Birds. I would love this to get flexed. I think, well, we both saw last year preseason, it got rained out, Ravens and Eagles.
A game we were actually at. I almost forgot about that.
We were at that. It was preseason, and oh my God, I remember thinking, "Oh, we're gonna beat the Ravens." They went 10-6 the year before that. They'll be okay this year, and they whooped us. I know Lamar didn't even play a second.
No, he didn't. No.
I don't know how we're gonna stop Lamar. What we need to talk about is how poor we are at running quarterbacks, scrambling quarterbacks. Think about Russell Wilson. Think about Josh Allen. Yeah, we beat the Bills, but I mean, can we stop these guys ever? No, we can't.
I mean, it's been a problem, and it's not even. I can't blame Jim Schwartz specifically, and I can't blame a single player for it. It's just been a Philadelphia Eagles thing. It's just one of those things that we can't seem to figure out. No matter how many times we face them, they just seem to get better and evolve. And Lamar is just—he's superhuman, Chris. I mean,
he's amazing.
He's done everything last year. I mean, his escapability, his vision has gotten so much better. His accuracy. I mean, everyone's talking about his accuracy just from last year and how much good he got.
A lot.
Yeah.
Okay, Madden curse. He is on Madden 21. If anybody has not heard, I hope it comes in as a factor, and I hope we win. And look, I love the Ravens, just their organization. I always love their teams. But I do hope Lamar has the Madden curse. I'm sorry, Ravens fans. But I hope it happens. And I hope we beat them. But for me, I would say this would be a loss.
I don't know. Because being at home, last year, we thought we were going to do so well at home. And then we lose to Carolina. And, we lost a lot of games last year at home that maybe we should have not lost. So this is one of those games where I think right now we're looking at it as a loss. But maybe come the middle of the season, as the season starts, and we kind of see how this Eagles team plays out, maybe they'll get better and maybe we'll get more confidence. So I don't know. I could see this going either way. Right now, I'm going to leave this neutral. I'm not going to really say, because I want to see how they start off on the season. They could come away with this win just being at home. I'll just say that. I'll leave it at that for now. All right.
It is going to be interesting. I believe this is Thursday Night Football, our one and only Thursday night game of the year versus the stinking, disgusting New York Giants.
Couldn't have said it better myself, brother.
We have beaten them, I believe, the past 4 times, possibly more, to my knowledge. And no Eli this time. Let's just remember that. We have no Eli. He messed us up last year, but we did win that game in Philly.
And then even when we went to New York last year, Saquon had, he had a big game, but it was just not enough. He was the only man on that team, and I think, Chris, this season, he's going to be pretty much the one-man show for that Giant offense, and he's going to keep a lot of it running. We'll see how he does, because I don't know how much he can really handle by himself. It'll be really fun to see what else that Giants offense kind of does. They got some new management now, new coach, I believe.
They do, Joe Judge. That's the thing about the NFC East, of course, is all new coaches except Mr. Doug Peterson. I think we'll beat him. But you never know, because these division games are really hard. It's Thursday Night Football. It'll be primetime. What's that? In Philly. Yeah. So that's going to be exciting. This is also a home stretch of where we have 3 home games in a row. Ravens, Giants, Cowboys. I think we'll easily beat them. Look, Danny Dimes, he's fine, but I don't think he's really all that good, like you said about Saquon. This is a win, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm going to have to mark this one as a win, just on the fact that we've owned the Giants the last couple seasons. All right. Moving on to Week 8 now, everyone's favorite. It'll be November 1st.
Dallas week.
Dallas week 2020. Dallas is leading the all-time series 69-53. The Eagles 1-3 in the last 4 matchups, only winning last year at home late in the season in the middle of December. Chris, we kind of know what this Dallas offense is going to look like. I think a lot of people are afraid of it so far. Are you afraid of it?
I will say this. I think they got a lot weaker on defense. I know that's what a lot of people talk about. But as far as the offense, well, think about our defense. That certainly got better to me.
Yeah, it did.
You look back at Week 16 last year in Philly. It was so exciting. And we held them to 9 points. I don't even think they scored a touchdown.
They did not, no.
With that offense. Look, Dallas fans will say, Dak's hand was hurt. Oh, my God.
That was
already
the biggest excuse.
Yeah, so they'll make up any excuse. Look, go watch the VHS tapes of your Super Bowls if you're really that butthurt. And look, I don't think the offense will click as much as it did last year. I know last year it was maybe even the number one. It was definitely one of the top ranked offensives. Zeke eats us.
He
eats us alive.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair to say.
Yeah. But again, the D-line that we have now.
And the rotations at D-line is going to have us Hargrave, Cox, Graham. I mean, these guys are going to rotate in. That's going to be a big battle. But then, Chris, I mean, of course, Dallas, sneaking ahead of us at the 17th pick in the draft, getting CeeDee Lamb, something they did not need. They did it anyway, just like, most Eagles fans know, just like we did to them for the Dallas Goedert pick in 2017. So, I mean, it only makes sense that they did that at the time, and it's going to be fun to see how CeeDee's used. CeeDee's a great player, and I loved watching him in college, but now putting him in this Dallas offense, just adding another weapon to the already... I mean, their offense on paper is scary, and I think that's the difference.
It is.
Offense on paper versus reality is going to be huge for them, because how are they going to come out with all this hype that they seem to be getting in the media?
Never live up to the hype, let's be honest.
No. A failure waiting to happen, as a good friend of ours used to once say.
They do beat us a lot, quite a lot. But I think that's changing, and you saw it change last year at the end of the year. I think we're going to sweep them this year, in my opinion.
You got to say... I mean, hopefully this would be a win at home. You can only hope so. I mean, you got the 3 home games here with Baltimore, New York, and Dallas.
You got to win at least 2.
You got to win at least 2. I hope they win 3, because you really need to protect home field, and you want opponents to fear coming into the link like they did in 2017. And that was lost, I feel, last year with stupid losses that they had. I think a lot of that's got to get cleaned up, and I think it will get cleaned up for this year. So you only hope that they can continue to protect home field, especially in this big 3-game stretch here.
And, of course, it is going into Week 9 bye, which is next week. So it is always big to have that momentum going into the bye. You never want to take a few losses or even a loss right into the bye. You get down. You don't even want the Eagles to come back. We all get to that point. But after the bye, we do have at Giants. Games are really close with the Giants. This is at New York at 1 p.m. What do you think about this, Nick?
I mean, Chris, honestly, there's not too much else to say about the Giants. I mean, we've already said it enough. I think we're going to New York. We'll take care of business here coming off the bye. Team will be freshly rested after that Dallas game. So you can only hope they come in there and take care of business in New York and, get out there with a win.
I agree. I think we will win this. We kind of just talked about the Giants and their game few minutes ago. The scary thing is for me here, in these last 8 games after the bye, we only have 3 home games. Now, granted, our home games are against tougher opponents, which is always good.
But that's been a real positive light to look into this schedule now.
But I mean, we can just breeze by the Giants. We kind of talked about them. I think we'll win. I think it'll be a close game. It really always is with New York. But then we got the Browns, Week 11 at 1 p.m.
November 22nd, so this will be Thanksgiving week. Cleveland, going into Cleveland. All right, let's just be realistic here, because this is what we're meant to be. Cleveland has had their way with the Eagles throughout the years. We'll say this coming in to this year at 31-17 against the Birds all time.
And against the Browns, look, like I was just saying a second ago, it depends. We always know the Browns are either really good or really bad. There's never an in-between. Last year, everybody thought they would be really good, and they haven't been really good in a while, and they were awful last year. I mean, they were a mess. Coaching, players, Baker, everything was falling apart that you don't want to fall apart on your team. I think the Browns could have a bounce back year, but again, like, you look at them and I don't know if they're complete as a team.
Okay.
Their offense is really good. We have to just see how Baker does, and at this point in the season, they could get things hot, or they could be ice cold, and this could just be an easy away win.
Now, I don't know if anyone else heard this, but I heard Odell Beckham Jr. say, I think it was this past week, that he expects this season to be the best of his career. I don't know how he expects that. I don't know if that's confidence in his quarterback. I don't know if that's confidence in his team or just from himself. But I would like to see how Odell, throughout the season, how he live up to those words. And just to correct myself, because I made a mistake earlier, the Eagles, have won the last 5 matchups against Cleveland. But Cleveland does own the series 31-17. And like we said, so let's take a look at our Week 12 matchup. We got the...
Week 12. I am looking forward to this, and I'm sure everybody knows what it is without even looking at the schedule. Nick, it is at home. Coming into Philly, the Seattle Seahawks, and possibly the re-signed Jadeveon Clowney. This is a Monday Night Football game, 8:15. I cannot wait for this game.
Only Monday Night Football game of the year for the Birds. Pretty surprising. They haven't gotten a lot of Monday night games the last couple seasons. They've been on Sunday night more so, I would say. So This will be a really big game. You could say middle of November, Chris. End of November. November 30th. It'll be nice and cold for Seattle coming back. But you can only hope, the big stat to me in this game, Russell Wilson has not lost to the Eagles in his career.
That stat is also huge. And let's look at the Seattle Seahawks as a whole. We have not beaten them since 2008. Okay, that is over a decade. We have lost in recently with Wentz the past 4 games. Of course, Wentz didn't really play in the last game in the wild card round. But last year, that was one of my least favorite games during the regular season against Seattle. I barely even watched it because I was so disgusted with the offense.
That was not a fun game at all.
Yeah, I think Seattle's going to be quite good this year. They were surprisingly good last year, like better than people really expected. I think they'll definitely be a top playoff team, a top seed. So this is one of the hardest games on our schedule.
Yeah, this is a hard one to predict. I don't know because of just the fact of Russell Wilson owning us basically the last couple of seasons. But I don't know. I can say, maybe it's going to be 17-9 again. Let's just, say that. It'll be 17-9 in some capacity.
It probably will, because that's been the past 2 times. I would hope the Eagles would have 17. I would say this is a loss, and it sucks to see a loss against a revenge-type game. We haven't had, in my prediction, a loss since the Ravens, and I think this is when all that momentum, all that excitement, a little bit weaker opponents in there, it just gets chopped in half by Russell.
So that would only be our second loss of the season if we're looking at it from a positive aspect, which wouldn't be the worst case scenario.
Great in my opinion.
I do really want to beat Seattle and maybe take some losses on the back half of the schedule, but if we took a loss here, I don't think it's something too bad. I mean, we'd only have 1 loss at this point in Week 12. I don't know how us being 11-1. I don't see that. I know it's not going to happen.
I don't see it, no.
Baltimore game. Baltimore and San Francisco. If they lose both of those.
I would say they would lose both. I would say they would lose it in between the Bengals, honestly, the Niners, Steelers, and Ravens. I would say there's at least 2 in there. At least 2 losses. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, there's no way they're coming into this game with 1 loss. Definitely at least 2. No more than 3. If something else slips up with that Bengals or Pittsburgh game.
And we always think it's going to be a great start. We always think we're going to have 13-3 and 11-5 type seasons. But, we started 3-4 or something last year. And the year before that, it was even worse. But honestly, this Seattle game is a key to me because last year we lost to Seattle and we lost to New England back-to-back. And that was considered the hardest 2 consecutive games in the season. And this year we have, of course, Seahawks, Packers, Saints, Cardinals, Cowboys, all in a row. Now, if you look at just those main 3, if you look at those main 3, the Seahawks, Packers, Saints, this is the killer stretch. You need to win at least 2 out of 1. I was saying that earlier in the schedule, but this is like the stretch. This is the final few games. These are really hard games.
And the fact that we have Seattle and the Saints at home, that helps. Hopefully that helps. That does help. The thing that scares me is being on the road in Green Bay in early December at 4 o'clock. That's what scares me.
And that's our next game. So we can just hop on into that. It's at 4:25. I do love these afternoon type games.
Yeah, a Joe Buck game.
Joe Buck, well, he sucks. But we got at Packers. We had him last year at Green Bay, Week 4. Again, I think I said this earlier. It was one of my favorite games. We don't know if we'll see Jordan Love by
No,
this time.
we don't
Nick.
know.
We don't know
We
what
don't
will
know.
happen. We don't know if Rodgers will walk out on them. We don't know if he'll be traded mid-season, if he'll just be benched, or just... You never know what could happen because there's a lot of drama surrounding the quarterback controversy in Green Bay.
Yeah,
But,
and then not only that, Chris. I mean, you have to look at the wide receiver, I guess, controversy, if you want
Yeah.
to put it that way, because
The
who's
draft and
besides Devontae Adams, who is Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball to?
yeah, they don't even have old Jimmy Graham. He's on the Bears now. I see this as a win. I think this is a game we're all going to be scared about, but we're going to win. It's kind of like the past few years when we played the Rams in 2018.
Yeah, it
and
could be. It could
we
be.
win these big games. I think we'll win this.
I mean, I hope so. I want to be positive about this game because we won last year in Green Bay. To go back there, so it's not something we're unfamiliar with. But it's always Aaron Rodgers. So, like, even though he might not have the greatest weapons besides Devontae Adams, because he is a absolute beast
He's
of a
amazing.
receiver, tops in the league. Besides him, I'm not too fearful of too much else. I think our corners will be able to lock down everybody else. This is a good thing, Chris. We got Slay on Devontae this year. We didn't have that last year.
We do.
I think Devontae had a couple touchdowns in that game last year.
And we have depth, too.
Yeah,
We have a lot of depth in corner,
that's
which we
true.
struggled with last year. And we still beat them.
So, I mean,
we still beat them.
yeah, you want to be positive in that aspect because we're deep defensively and in the corners and in the safety back half this year. Seems like the first time in a while. I mean, we've been deep at corners for the last couple of seasons, but I think right now we all feel at least a little better than we did last year going into last year's season. We match up with Green Bay pretty well here. Hopefully come out there with a win. I'll mark that as a win for now.
Yeah, I'll also say it's a win. I like going to Green Bay in the cold. We kind of are used to the cold. I know it's even colder down in Green Bay, or up in Green Bay. But, no, I think we'll win. That's an easy win to me. I think they were very overrated last year. Then we have probably, in my opinion, the hardest game of the schedule. I'm very scared of this game.
I mean, I don't want to say it's a loss right now. I don't.
Yeah.
Because, again, I mean, Chris, so many factors. By week 14, in the middle of December here, it'll be December 13th, 425 game that play in effect. There's going to be injuries on both sides, you would think, of the Eagles and the Saints. I hate to say that, but there will be because it happens every year.
And we should have said that earlier. We're going to have at least 5 people in the IR by now.
I mean,
it's just a tradition.
It
we
is.
love it.
Your biggest thing has been, will Deshaun be playing in this game by far?
Will Deshaun be playing past week 2?
Will Alshon be back? I mean,
I hope
start
not.
thinking by then, going back to the schedule, when will Alshon come back, if at all? If he's back by week 14, I'd be pretty happy with that. Even in that Packers game, we get him back, but maybe they hold him back to the Saints game or even the Arizona game coming up here. It depends who's full strength, and I think whoever's full strength at that time is going to come out with a win here. But Chris, of course, it'll be something that I think will be talked about building up to this game. Taysom Hill versus Jalen Hurts.
Yes, that's going to be very, very fun. It's at 4:25 at Philly, so I love these kind of turning into dark. It'll kind of be getting around dark time, and I just love these night type games. I think the Saints use Taysom Hill very, very brilliantly. As much as I hate Sean Payton, stupid lips and the face he makes.
Yeah,
I don't like him I like him as a football coach.
Okay.
But I would say I don't like him as a person.
Okay.
That's what I would say.
That's fair enough.
Sorry, Saints fans. It's true. Okay, come on. Yeah, like you said real quick, Hurts. Will we be using him at this point in the season? Will teams be figuring out Hurts at this point? Are we going to be using him quite a lot? We all know. If Hurts comes in and he messes up, he's going to get booed like crazy.
Will. Yeah.
I would just say this, to me, probably a loss, unfortunately.
All right, Chris, let's take a look. The final 3 games here, home stretch here of the 2020 Philadelphia Eagles season. Week 15 matchup. We're going out west. Arizona Cardinals.
Yep.
December 20th, 4:05 matchup. Kyler Murray and the Birds.
And, of course, we have to talk about DeAndre Hopkins. We have to talk about Larry Fitzgerald, Kirk. I think the Cardinals are going to be the Browns of this year.
Okay.
Last year, the Browns were very overhyped because they got one wide receiver. Look, Odell's great. DeAndre Hopkins, in my opinion, even better. I think we'll beat the Cardinals. I do like our chances. Okay, Murray's very young. We won in 2017 our Super Bowl run 34-7. It was an amazing game. Beginning of the season.
Game. Yeah.
We torched them. We bombed them. We nuked them. We actually are losing the series. I do hate the Cardinals growing up. 50-56-5. They beat us in the playoffs, which prevented the Pennsylvania Super Bowl, I think, in 2008. and I always hated them after that.
Yeah.
But I just think that, look, they got, okay, we have to talk about the elephant, Isaiah Simmons. He is a absolute monster. He's a machine. He's not human. I love him.
You have to
Simmons
love him.
was a very surprising pick to me, and I think he'll be a great fit. But you can't look DeAndre Hopkins' offense and Simmons' defense. They're not going to carry those two aspects of the field.
No.
I think we'll beat them, but I think also we can easily lose this game.
It could be one of those games, Chris, just coming off that game against the Saints, and we'll have to see come December. If it's an emotional game against the Saints, they win close games. I'm not saying it could be a trap game. Again, it's really weirdly placed because it's the week before Dallas, but yet you're coming off the Saints game at home. So it's a really weird placement of the schedule. You're home, and then you're going out west to Arizona, and then you're going to Dallas. So maybe you're staying in that area, so maybe that's a good as far as the Eagles being out west, and then they only have to go to Dallas the next week, so that's not too far. They'll just stay out there for the week like they've done in the past. But I mean, Isaiah Simmons, he's going to be a fun player. He's going to be all over the place. We know that. But again, he's only one man. He's a great player. I love him. I love watching him. I'm very excited to watch him in the NFL for years to come. And I just think he's only one man. But I mean, you gotta respect Kyler Murray. Again, another escape artist, a guy who'll run with his legs, just like Russell. He's a little bit shorter than Russell, but I think it's another game. I'm not saying they're going to lose, but I'm going to just say it's a game you got to watch out for because of Kyler Murray and what he can do with his legs. And that's, again, always a factor against the Birds defensively.
All right, so tricky game there, and we move on to Week 16 yet again in a back-to-back Week 16 at the stinking, disgusting city of Dallas. Dallas Cowboys, 4:25 on Fox. What do we think about this game late in the season?
Late in the season, as always. Well, Chris, I mean, the thing that just jumps off at you is this going to be for the division? Is this going to crown a champ?
I would say yes.
It did the last couple years. Last year, as we mentioned earlier, against Dallas, it probably will come down this game for the division title in Dallas. I worry about this game because of what happened in Dallas last year in the overtime loss that it was. I'm more afraid of playing in Dallas over the years than I've been playing Dallas at home. At least in the Dak Prescott era, I'll say I've been a little afraid, and since they've got Amari Cooper and Zeke. So this game, Chris, I mean, this is the big thing I would say about this game, because another great stat of the week, I'll call it. This will be our stat of the week. But our stat of the week here is there's been no back-to-back division title winner in 15 seasons it's the longest streak since the 1970 merger. So that's a really big factor that no one in the NFC East, and maybe it's the weakest division in football over that span of time. Maybe it has been. But I think someone's got to win this game, and we hope it's the Birds at the end of the day. Maybe we'll be in a position where this game won't matter, and that's what we would love as a Philadelphia Eagles fan. I would love that. You don't want that burden going to Dallas week in Week 16 that late in the season, having to definitely win this game just to make the playoff.
I do think it'll come down to this game. I think we'll win finally in Dallas. But it's going to be tough. Like, these games are always my favorite. Well, most of the time, unless we're losing. Birds and boys, it's always great. I could see us losing. I keep saying that about a lot of games, but like you just said, the stat about not having a repeat division winner, I think this is the year we have to break it. We just have to.
We have to. Somebody's got to eventually. It's only a matter of time. I would say this season is probably going to be the season that does it. Hopefully, I'm trying to be positive here about this one, because I just see this Eagles team on paper. I mean, it just depends on where they are. Like, again, it's so hard to say this now where they're going to be in December, and it just so depends again on injuries, and maybe Dallas will have injuries.
Who's going to be our quarterback?
Yeah,
sorry, we don't know.
We don't know. We really don't know. We think it's going to be Carson. I do.
I don't
think he'll lose the starting job in any way this season.
I hope he doesn't go out with an injury. God.
But I mean, something funny to at least think about is what's going to happen with Andy Dalton now behind Dak Prescott.
And I was going to say this last game, when we play on Week 8, it's interesting. Will Andy Dalton be the quarterback? Will he be the quarterback now, or would Dak signed, or maybe Dak will hold out? We just don't know yet. We're not time travelers, but I would love to play Andy Dalton, but I freaking hate Dak. And I would love to see Andy Dalton Cowboys versus the Eagles.
Yeah, I would love to see that. That would be actually really fun, and it'd be an easy game. But, maybe Dak's hurt in this game. I don't know. I mean, time will tell about this one. For now, I'm going to mark this as a loss. just
Okay.
because I don't have too many losses going back and looking at my schedule here. Any final thoughts for the Dallas game?
No, but Dallas sucks. That's my final thought.
Okay, good enough. I always approve of that here
All right.
on the Brothers of Broad Street show. And finally, that brings us, Chris, to Week 17, January 3rd. So the regular
Yeah.
season ending in January this year.
Same way it opened.
And we ended the season with the Washington Redskins at the Link.
That's right. I'm glad we're ending at the Link.
Yeah, that's always fun.
I
That
think
is
last
fun.
year we ended away against New York or
Yes,
Washington.
Yes.
It always seems we open and end against Washington, but look, they might be a good team. They might be an average team. They might be. I see them going about 7-9 or so.
Yeah.
I think they'll be a little bit better than last year.
Yeah, Ron
But-
Rivera,
well, they'll
he'll keep
definitely be
those
better.
guys. He's going to
Yeah.
build something this year. Obviously, Dwayne Haskins is always a question mark. I think he's a great quarterback. I have nothing but respect for Dwayne Haskins as a quarterback. I think he just needs the right system, and maybe Ron Rivera's will get him in the right foot. And if not, Washington's going to need another quarterback in next year's draft. I mean, that's as simple as it gets. If it's not working and they,
They should
probably
they
win no more
gotta
than
get
6
it working.
games, then
They
I would
have
see
to.
them getting another quarterback. They need
Yeah.
to win this game. We don't know as far as, we'll see right now. I'm going to say this is a win for now because it's the Redskins. Start the year with the Redskins, end the year with the Redskins with a win. But it might not matter. We can only hope and pray. Maybe a game won't matter. We'll have the
Yeah.
starters rested for this game,
what I was
start
gonna
the
say,
playoffs the
yeah.
next week.
You just said exactly what I was thinking of. We would only hope we're at the point where we don't have to play our starters. But then again, we all thought we were going 13-3 last year, and we went 9-7. I'm smelling another. God, I hope not 9-7 again. Yeah, I think we'll beat the Redskins. I think, of course, it's always going to be a tough game.
Yeah, it will be. It will be, Chris. I mean, I agree. Like I keep saying, I'm going to be positive about this. I think they'll end the season with a win here. Hopefully, having to rest the starters, maybe Hurts even starts this game. I mean, I don't know. That'd be
He might.
fun. I mean, that'd be fun.
I would like to see that.
If it's not, if Sudfeld has to come in and play this game, then Hurts gets some rest and whatever. I don't care. If it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter at the end of the day. Resting our starters, I would say, is more important than anything than coming out with a win. All right, Chris. So there's our schedule. Back and review this here. Let's start with the toughest games. Where do you see your toughest games at for our Birds?
For me, Nick, I see our toughest games. God, you got to look at week 4
Yeah.
at 49ers. You got to look at Ravens.
Yep.
And I think those 3 at the end of the year, Seahawks, Packers, Saints.
Yeah.
I definitely think Steelers will be a hard one, but as those are kind of my top 5 right there is what I just said. Think we'll lose to the Niners and the Ravens, and I hope we'll beat at least 2 out of 3 in those last 3 that I mentioned. What do you think is your toughest?
I gotta say Baltimore right now is the single toughest game, and then maybe San Francisco because they were in the Super Bowl last year, and then Seattle because of Russell Wilson owning us. But recently they haven't blown us out, and the fact that they're home for this one, I'm a little more comfortable with this one. But I would say the biggest threat is the Saints. But again, with them, they're coming into the Link in December, so like it just depends on the weather that day and stuff like that. But for now, for today's sake, I'll just say San Francisco and Baltimore are the toughest games of the schedule, and we'll see with the other teams as the season progresses.
Yeah, and everything can always change. About that, what do you think are your easiest games? What do you think are, God forbid, easy wins or maybe even trap games? What do you think are your easiest?
Easiest games, well, we know Doug has said a lot of coaches, I can't just single Doug out here, but a lot of coaches have said there's no easy game in this league.
Right.
I mean, it's a man's league, never an easy week. I would say non-division. Let's take away the division opponents for a second and just look at the regular opponents. I'll have to say right now, maybe Arizona or Cincinnati. Again, as much as respect as and love I have for Joe Burrow, I just think that's a very young team, and to come into Philadelphia in week 3 of the season is going to be very hard for them to do. So I would say that would be the easiest game. Cleveland, I would say, is pretty easy. I mean, non-division game. Thanksgiving week, that I could be wrong about that, but I guess for this sake, again, I'll just say Cincinnati will be the easiest game.
To agree, definitely Cincinnati. Besides, and Cleveland. Besides the division games, of course, I think we're going to sweep the entire division. Maybe split it with the Cowboys. But I am looking at the Rams game. I think might be an easy, just we bomb them. I think we just might destroy the Rams. That is one of definitely my top easiest games. I don't really see anything else as easy besides
No, I don't either.
Bengals, Browns, and Rams.
No,
I just don't.
I think just a side topic here, because looking at it, I know we're fearful of what we just said what we're fearful of, but we're thankful of we're not getting these teams, these hard games back to back. We're not playing San Francisco and Baltimore back to back, or we're not playing Seattle and Baltimore back to back as an example. Yeah, we have Green Bay and New Orleans back to back.
Green Bay could suck.
And I would say that's the hardest back-to-back we have this season. But I'm thankful for that. It's not that bad overall as back-to-back games are concerned. I mean, so we're not, it's not looking too bad. But again, everything changes in the NFL week to week. It's a week-to-week league. We know, obviously, Chris, the big thing Doug says after every week, we want to know this week. It's one of our favorite things you and I love to hear.
Oh, yeah.
So hopefully they take that really attitude and continue that. Go week to week as Eagles fans. Yeah, we can look at this now. We can have fun with this for the next couple of weeks because we haven't had fun with sports over the last couple months now.
Absolutely.
But we can't look at this too far into it because we just don't know what's going to happen in that time of the NFL season.
We don't know if it's going to be virtual camp and summer.
Training camp. We don't know a lot of that. So we don't know how these teams are going to be ready going into the season.
The Bengals might not even be ready. Doing a virtual training camp with Burrow
having
with a rookie? I don't know.
That whole
Look,
playbook.
He's great. I love Burrow, like I said. But yeah, I definitely do also see, though, Bengals, Arizona as trap games. So, Nick, if you could go through the schedule and besides tough and easiest, what is your one out of all 16 games, your most excited game? Of course, we know the Cowboys, but besides that, most excited game that you're looking forward to?
I would say Baltimore because we're just going to say once. I'm going to say Baltimore because I love watching the Ravens play, and I have a lot of respect for Lamar and how much he's grown as a quarterback and that defense. And I guess because they're in the AFC, Chris, I guess I can say I love them because we don't see them and have to worry about them as an NFC opponent. I think because they're at home, they actually have a chance to win. So I'm going to say I'm excited about Baltimore because I'm going to give them a slight chance right now come out of that game with a win.
Yeah, and Baltimore, I am looking forward to that game as well. You think about what the Titans did to them. They dismantled them. They owned them during the divisional round last year. You saw a lot of trick plays, Derrick Henry's touchdown. Could we use Jalen Hurts? I hate to talk about him too much because I want Wentz on the field mostly. Yeah, we could definitely expose them as they were exposed last year.
If something's on tape like that, I think Jim Schwartz can come out with a really good game plan.
Yeah, and I do like Schwartz. I think his defense, he finally has the pieces he needs, really. If I had to pick one out of these, look, I hate to say it, but I'm excited for a lot of these games.
Yeah.
The 49ers, like you said, the Ravens, the Steelers. I'm looking really at two. It's so hard to decide. I'm very excited for that Seattle revenge game.
Yeah, I think that would be my second answer. Yeah,
I think, honestly, I might be more excited as my actual number one answer versus the Saints week 14 in Philly. I would love for us to beat them after they beat us in the playoffs, after they beat us back in 2013 or whenever that was with Foles at Philly. I think they're going to be the top team or at least top two teams in the NFC, and I'm very excited for that game.
And it's something, Chris, I'm very excited for too. I mean, that would probably be my third game I'd be excited for. I think it's a time where the Saints are going to try to run the NFC this season, and a lot of early predictions.
Like they do every year.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I know. But a lot of early predictions are having the Saints coming out of the NFC to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl this season. And I would love to just beat them because, obviously, Chris, come December 13th, that's going to be a big playoff position battle kind of game.
It is. It could be deciding the 1 seed, the 2 seed. It could be deciding where we are in the wild card. It could be just anything. I'm really looking forward to it, and I love your choice as well. Moving on, just as our final thoughts, and what is your record prediction? What are you looking as wins and losses?
All right, so I'm going to say just straight off the bat, I'm going to be positive, but I feel like I've been positive a lot in the past, and I'm always let down. But this season, I'm going to say 11-5, but potential to go 10-6. So I'll say 10-6, 11-5 range.
Contradicting what I said as we were going along each game by game, I think I only said like 3 losses, but I think we'll go 10-6 is what I think we'll go. I could definitely see us going ceiling 12-4.
Yeah, I think that's
we'll
the
get
ceiling.
Better. And I would say 8-8 is the lowest. I hope to God we don't get lower, but you really need 10-6 to even get hopefully a 3 seed just out of that. But we're aiming for the 1 seed. You know, the new playoff structure. Yeah, I do have losses here. Niners, Ravens. I'm thinking Seahawks, Saints, and Cardinals. Maybe even split with Cowboys. There's about 6.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm saying 10-6. You're going 11-5. I think
fair.
it's fair.
That's fair. That's fair to say. I know last year, a lot of predictions were 10-6 and 11-5. We got 9-7. But Chris, I mean, I feel like that's the average for the last couple of years. 9-7, 11-5. We had the 13-3 season. I want to show progress. I want them to show progress. I'm tired of this 9-7 stuff. I'm not saying they have to go 12-4 or I'm disappointed as a fan. That's just my passion coming out. But I don't want to settle for 9-7. it's going to be, again, week by week. We'll see what happens.
Injuries on other teams, on our team.
Our teams, obviously there's so many factors going into everything week to week. You just want to see progress with this team. You want this team to get that bye. Again, that Saints game is going to be key. The Seattle game is going to be key. The Ravens game, okay, if we lose, thankfully that won't have a problem with conference standings. So,
yeah, and like you said, like you were mentioning right there, I would rather lose to the AFC teams, definitely.
So, if you sacrifice losing, I hate to say this, who else we got? The Brown. If we lost to the Browns or Cincinnati, but yet we beat San Francisco, Seattle, and maybe Green Bay or the New Orleans, I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, and I also just want to say that a lot of the Super Bowl winners, or even NFC and AFC winners, you look back, they're really 13-3. They're 12-4.
Yeah.
They're always like the
that's
one
how,
or two.
That's how you get the 1 or 2 seed.
Okay, think past the Giants when they did that wild card run for a few years. But the past few years, it's been the top teams. We got to be a top 2 team. We need to be a top 2 team.
And I'm pretty sure the top 2 teams, I don't have the stat in front of me, but I know the top teams, the teams that get the bye week have gone on to the Super Bowl for a couple. I know the couple last season. I can't remember it off the top of my head. We were the 1 seed, obviously, in 2017. So that was a big factor of why we made it to the Super Bowl. And I would take just being in the playoffs this year because of how tough the schedule looks on paper right now.
Yeah, I think just with the key players we have, we might even lose a lot of players next year. I think we just spent too much money. We spent too many useless draft picks to not have a good season. We like you said, we can't settle for 9-7. I'm aiming 13-3. But like I said, 10-6 is my prediction.
We want to be realistic, but we want to have a ceiling, and I think that's fair. 12-4 would be great. I would take 12-4. I don't think 13-3 is unfortunately going to be possible, unless they just pull off a magical season. And anything's possible.
And
we didn't
about
say anything.
magic.
It is.
It's about the Philly Magic.
And Chris, really to wrap this up here, that's going to be the key to the Eagles season. Carson Wentz, his health. Is he going to come out to be like an MVP candidate that we know he can be? We saw the potential he has. And just now that he has the speed around him, is that going to transition into more wins in 2020?
Good closing thoughts just from me. I would just say, think about the Magic, how you were saying. A lot of games last year just didn't go our way. You think of the Lions, the Falcons. You think of those games. The Dolphins, my God.
Yeah, games we should have won.
So in 2019, we were on the losing end of a lot of this bad luck. Imagine if we did, catch a few more balls. We beat the Falcons. We beat the Lions. We had 2 more wins. So we really, really, really just need to get hot and lucky, honestly.
Yeah, and I think that's what it's about. It's a team effort, too, at the end of the day. We can say Carson Wentz, the season's on his shoulders. It's not fair to say that. As Philadelphia Eagles fans, we want to say that. We just, as a franchise quarterback, I think he knows it, too. This season matters so much to us and to him. And just, I know he wants to get back out there and finish what he started last season and kind of complete games. I think that's a big factor, and I'll say that. It's going to be a story of the season. Complete games, play 60 minutes of football, and all 3 phases, offense, defense, and special teams. Field goals are going to matter. Kiki Boy's got to make his field goals this year. He missed a lot of them in key games last year that left some points on the board. Mm-hmm. So if he makes his field goals, all 3 phases play 60 minutes of complete football, I think this team could put together a really nice season.
All right, well, that is our schedule prediction. We have a lot easier first half of this season and a very hard second half. But guys, tell us what you think. Talk to your friends, share us, follow us on YouTube. We're trying to get started. We love Philly. We love all sports. We'll be here for a while. And thank you for watching. Nick, any closing remarks there?
Yeah, thanks everyone for listening. Share this with your friends. Again, we're on the Anchor app. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and we have our own YouTube channel. It's the Brothers of Broad Street on YouTube. You can find us, all spaces, comments. Please comment, leave your thoughts, questions, anything you want us to talk about going on in the future. And we hope to talk to you guys very soon. Thanks for listening, and take care, everybody. And once again, we are the Brothers on
Broad Street.
Brothers of Broad Street. Thanks for listening, guys. And, of course, go Birds.
Go Birds.
Thank you.